Hey, all, welcome into another edition of S2S Colorado Buffaloes Live. I'm your host, Manny. I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. If you could give me a follow on X at Manny_303 and Instagram at 303_Manny. Again, Buffline is always open for any comments or questions at 970-614-5771. Also, make sure to follow us at the VOCFB. That'll be, for the main show, everything like that. And if you can just give me or any contributions, they are not necessary, but any contributions to the show will be much appreciated. Venmo on the bottom right there, as you can see, crossing at Manny S2S. But anything would be much appreciated. So for today's show, we have Ralphie report, recruiting update, and the next moves for Colorado. Yeah, so tough game this past weekend, past Friday night, but we'll dive all into that, as well as, news and notes of the day, and then just a recruiting update on a player getting moved up in stars. So let's start Ralphie report today. So there was a question at post-game interview. Post-game press conference, where it was asked to Preston Hodge kind of why the defense is not stopping the run. But Preston came on to say, he said about the defense is, we play a lot of man. When we play man, us as DBs can't see the quarterback. So we have to trust that our defensive line can do their assignment, stay in their gap. That is all it comes down to, is everybody on the front line just staying in their gaps. So again, this is what Preston Hodge said post-game. Now, this is an interesting point, one that I do understand and don't understand at the same time, I should say. First part about it is that does not excuse not making the tackle. You should be tackling. And again, Colorado has missed a ton of tackles this season that we will dive into a little bit later here in the show. But and then it looks kind of like we're throwing the defensive line under the bus. Again, I don't know if that was the case or not, what he meant by that. Hopefully it doesn't turn into a humongous deal. But this is kind of the quote just doesn't look good, especially after Colorado struggling on defense against Connor Wigman, who, had a humongous day on the ground versus them, which should never happen. Now, what I did want to do, though, is to try to get a little bit of a better understanding of what he meant by that. And again, this is not one that I really understood. I started thinking about it, so it's kind of sat with me from over the weekend. So I went and watched some film of Colorado against Georgia Tech, as well as against Delaware. Delaware was a little bit different, but as well as against Houston over the weekend. Now, basically what these teams are doing at Colorado, since they do play man right in this, they're running a lot of RPOs or read options that look like RPOs. The read options aren't as, what's the right word? Dedicated as much as an RPO look. RPOs are really tough. They're really tough to cover on a defense, puts a lot of stress on them. So what teams are doing to Colorado, and again, this is basically just off of what Haynes King did in Georgia Tech, is they know Colorado's coming out in man-to-man, right? Like, they are basically running their read option, RPOs, having their receivers run routes regardless, even if it's not an RPO and they know they're not getting the ball. They're running routes and having their receivers take the cornerbacks, defensive backs, take bad angles, right? And again, this is or they're going to cover the receiver because they don't know. So this is kind of something that I'm sure Colorado looks at. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a defensive coordinator or anything like that, but that was one common denominator that I did find. Now, is this an excuse, right? Because, Colorado has missed tons of tackles. They're not covering either, right? And again, it is the defense is just not playing well. Northside, what's up, man? How's it going? Hopefully you're having a good Monday. Hopefully Friday's game wasn't too bad. But yeah, I'm good. Hopefully you're doing all right too. But the RPOs, they're confusing the team, the defense, the RPOs, read options. You have a defensive, our ends are coming down or crashing too far on it. It's not working very well for them. I'm hopeful they just practice RPO and read option all week long. This is not going away. Teams are going to continue copycatting what these other teams have done. This has just not been a good couple weeks on film, right? On defense, right? Teams are doing whatever they want. I know Delaware only scored 7, but their total yardage was still up there as well. And it wasn't so much rushing, it was the passing at that point. So it is teams are doing whatever they want to the Colorado defense right now. So yeah, it was a stressful weekend after the loss. Yeah, it feels like a week, but that was that was tough. That was tough. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I did not see that one coming. Yep, gap integrity. You're absolutely right, that which we're going to dive into what I saw on film. It was just a bad all-around game. Hopefully they've learned from this. Hopefully there's a lot of takeaways and a lot of improvements. Outside of, I want to say, like punting in the field goal unit, is basically everything needs some change to it or some adjustment to it. Now they are over aggressive on the running back. So again, like I said, I'm fall for it every time for that the read option. And again, we probably didn't think Connor Wegman was going to run like the way he did, but I mean, after a couple times that he's keeping it, make some adjustments at that point. And there's even one play, I think it was the big play that he had, Keaton Wade. He was trying to play slow, go after the wait to see if the quarterback gave it, but he came too far inside there. He was still parallel, shoulders still parallel, but he got upfield too quickly. And by upfield, I mean the backfield. So I believe it was the big 49-yard run by Connor Wigman. I actually watched that a couple hours ago and just could not wrap my head around it. And again, it's all part of being disciplined, right? Like gap integrity, whatever, is the contain on the D end. So now, the Colorado cornerbacks, though, they do follow the wide receivers on routes due to being a man-to-man. So I get that part of it, what Preston is saying. But at the same time, there does, and again, we'll talk more, but they are struggling in every single aspect on defense right now. And again, bad angles as well as missed tackles. So just was a rough go over for Colorado these first 3 weeks. And again, we'll talk more what that looks like. But again, that revolving door of players subbing in, subbing out, there is no consistency. What I've been talking about for the last week or so, since Georgia Tech, that was great that they were doing that against Georgia Tech, still trying to figure some things out. We're in week 3, defensive line, the defense, everything should be adjusted at this point. Everything needs to be adjusted here. And everything needs to be set in stone at this point. You have to have that defensive line that is going to play. When you are subbing in and out during the drive, no one can get in the swing of things, right? Give them a drive and then substitute, right? I love substituting the defensive line, and they need it, right, to be fresh. But at the same time, nobody's getting enough reps to be successful or make a play. So just something to look at, again, as we move forward. And bad angles, Carter Stoutmeyer on that play that you see that, again, the same play, Keaton Wade got too much downfield. Carter Stoutmeyer comes running across the screen and kind of does like this weird, I don't even know what it was, but plays going this way. You see Carter Stoutmeyer get it and start going like this. It was a terrible angle. And again, when your safeties and DBs, though, are leading your team in tackles, that is not a good look. I believe we saw Tawfiq Byard had 11 tackles. Great, led the team, great, but that means that they're getting into the second level of the defense at that point. That is never a good sign. I remember, that was years ago. There was a safety. I was a kid. He had like 25 tackles, but the team gave up. I think it was a Bronco player, and they gave up. I think he ended up with 20 tackles, but the running back had like 200 yards rushing, 150 yards rushing. This is like early 2000s, and I remember everybody was so happy. I said, hey, I think his name was Eric Brown, actually. And it was, he got into the second level. Like, this is not good when your safety's leading the team in tackles, unless he's in the box safety, like a Mark Barron, somebody like that. But that's not the case. A buyer does play closer to the line, but you cannot have DBs leading your team in tackles. That's not good. Yeah, our defense personnel don't make sense. I know Rob wanted to play more zone this year. The player's not good at zone. Yeah, they're not good at, I saw your comment above, Northside. We are not a good man or zone team. 100%. They're not good at either right now. And one that is just bothering me It's Preston Hodge this year. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe he needs to switch back to number 24. I don't know what's going on there. He's getting beat by Delaware receivers. He's getting beat by Houston receivers. He's getting beat by Georgia Tech receivers. I don't know what's going on there. I just hope they get it figured out and get it figured out quickly because, Colorado right now opens as 13.5-point favorites. But if they play the way they've been playing, it's going to be a lot closer than it's been, a lot closer than it should be. And again, 14 points is kind of a, for Colorado playing a G5 school, 14 points it should be a little bit of a wake-up call as well. Hopefully that motivates the team. All right, so let's talk about some recruiting updates. Our friend moved Preston to safety. Man, maybe or let Cam Michael play, right? Let Cam Michael play. I know he's been getting some work there with the safeties. That dude has to touch the field. He is too good of an athlete to not be playing anywhere. So that's what I was kind of thinking that this weekend as well, or line him up at corner. Something has to change though, right? Like the scheme, there has to be a lot bit different. One of the things that, again, I'm going on a rant again, but one of the things that really bothered me is we're 3rd and 15, 3rd and 14, and we're blitzing. Sit back, come up and make a tackle. Because then we risk, right? We had roughing the passer, and luckily they threw a crazy penalty flag because they pulled Connor Wegman's face mask and they called it intentional grounding. I mean, his head was looking the opposite way when he threw it because it was such a bad face mask. They got lucky on that one. But again, this team is they're reeling. They are reeling right now on both sides of the ball. And again, the defense is not doing the offense any favors. I know we love to point at the quarterback. We'll dive into the quarterback play. That is a whole different set of issues. But recruiting, Gavin Mueller, our tight end from South Elgin, Illinois, 24/7. Rivals and On 3. They moved him up to a 4-star, kind of how we were talking about over the summer. This is something I saw coming from a mile away, but he is moved up to a 4-star and now is the number 7 tight end in the country. Again, he's already committed to CU. Still says that is a strong, it's a strong indication that he's going to continue to uphold that commitment, but we'll see. I did see an article out today on 3, one of the recruiting companies, and he was talking about they were asking him a lot of questions about that. So just something to keep our eye on as well. 24/7 still has him as a 3-star and ranked as the number 39 tight end in the country. Again, it is I love the rating system. I love all that. Again, I saw another one. It was about the DJ Lagway class of quarterbacks. Man, they miss hard on those 5 stars. It is it is starting to get a little bit ridiculous. So yeah, move Reggie to edge. Reggie Hughes we're talking about, right? I mean, I guess who else would we talk about? Yeah, Reggie Hughes. I don't know. That is I don't know what you do with Reggie Hughes. The speed of the game it does look like he's not adapting to it. And again, I don't play that like Reggie Hughes has more. Right, I always tell everybody I would have went pro. Right, I would have been pro. I just lack every physical tool that's possible that you need: size, weight, speed, instinct. So I lack everything. So again, not taking anything away, but it does look like the speed has kind of got to him a little bit. Him and French. So, and I loved Martavius French coming into the season. That was my sleeper group, and that group is a group that is struggling and part of the problem as well. So again, it's not just one group; it is all of them. I don't know. Yeah, Reggie. I mean, who does he get playing time over at that point, right? You move him to the edge. I don't even know who he gets playing time with because now you had Lennon Merritt and Alex McPherson, and again, holy shit, Alex McPherson, man, that was a clinic he put on. He's out there in that 98 looking like Max Crosby. So he looks like a man amongst boys, and he is a true freshman. That is like my new favorite player on this Colorado team. I might have to go swoop up a 98 McPherson jersey. That'll probably be the next one I get, honestly. He is, man, I'm so impressed with him. That dude should probably, that dude should be starting. And we'll dive into that more a little bit too. But Reggie has another year. Is that what we're saying, Northside? I mean, I still don't know where he get because London Merritt and McPherson are going to be the starters next year. right? Assuming they need to start playing those young guys, those young men, letting them ball out. Assuming they're here, right? And knock on wood, right? They should be. But again, it's a different world of college football we live in now. So I don't know what you do with Reggie. French made a few good plays. I missed him during Delaware. Yeah, his instincts are there. It can be a little bit more aggressive. Sometimes gets caught in the wash, and then sometimes lacks that recovery speed to make up for it. So I know Kylan Salter didn't play, and I'm going to save that for later. We're going to jump into that. But again, Gavin Miller has been moved up to a 4-star. This dude is a monster. So this sounds crazy, but I fully intend him to start next year for Colorado at tight end, unless they get a huge tight end in the portal. So now, here's the meat of the show. Next moves for Colorado. As I'm going, make sure you chime in to the chat. Let us know exactly what. Let me know exactly what it is that what your takes are on all this, because this team is, again, they're reeling on both sides. Reggie have another year or move Reggie to nickel position. Yeah, I don't know what they do with him. I really don't. With he's struggling. I don't know. I'm hopeful it's just some kind of thing, just still trying to gel, still trying to figure out this defense. But right now, the linebacking group is struggling as a whole. And there's moments, right? There's moments that we see one come in and make some plays, and then the following week, right? So last week, right, the first week it was Myers. Myers got some playing time, and then we seen him miss some tackles, and then we seen who was it? Brown, 42. Gosh, why am I blanking on his name? 42 linebacker, Jeremiah Brown. Right, he had a good game against Delaware. He came in, and it was just like that room has to be set at some point. I was even thinking, do the Buffs have a big safety? And I know they don't. So, to even play that hybrid role or something going on. But my hope is Kylan Salter gets healthy, is ready, can start playing, because he is definitely needed. He is one that has played at the Power 4 level. So we'll see. But now on defense, so we talked about with Hodge, the defense is, in my opinion, they are running too much man-to-man. They need to mix it up. And I know they are struggling playing man, zone, any defense. What do they do at this point? I'm not sure, but something is going on that we are missing. Right, I don't get paid that much money to figure that out, but there's some issues going on there. And, the biggest one that I see, let's just go through some numbers before I actually start giving you guys my opinion on it. But the Buffs give up 430 yards per game. That ranks 100 out of 136. And again, Delaware, they gave up over 300 yards. I think it was like 396 total. That can't happen. Yards per play, they is 6 yards per play. That ranks number 97 out of 136. Third down conversions, 38.46%. That ranks number 66. So middle of the pack. And the reason I pointed that one out is it feels like they never get off the field on third down. I really do not understand that piece of it. Maybe it's just at the end of the game, because Houston felt like they only punted like once or twice, it felt like, and they were always converting on third down. Colorado could not get off the field. Is that worse than last year? Yes. For the yards per game, yes, all of it. They are statistically worse in every single category. There is not a single category they're even remotely close into last year. And I don't have those numbers off the top of my head, but this is where they're at right now. Dion played defense. I just don't get why he can't get the defense together. Shador and Travis bailed him out, but now it's really showing. And that could be it too. I was thinking that today too, and again, maybe it's Dion's way of playing defense, right? You put him on an island and Dion's going to take away that whole side of the field, that he is the best cornerback to ever play football ever. So maybe that's just kind of what he's thinking. Or it's a Rob Livingston thing. I am not sure, but that man-to-man is causing a lot of issues for this team. So here's another huge stat. Teams are also running the ball 60% of offensive plays. That is, man, that's tough. Like if you can't stop a team from running the football, which as we've seen, Colorado can't, man, that makes for a long day and it makes for long drives, as we've seen right? The first drive of the half versus Houston, what was it, like a 7.5, 8-minute drive? I remember looking at my wife and I said, the quarter's almost like it's almost halfway gone at this point. It was rough. Yeah. That type of run game will run down your yep. And then when you go 3 and out on the offensive side, defense is back in there. It is I think up until like the last minute, 20, minute 30 of the third quarter, the Buffs had the ball for 50 seconds of the play clock, of the game clock running. Unacceptable. Rush yards per play is 4.7. That ranks number 91. Rush yards a game, 204.3. That ranks 115th. Again, these are all out of 136 teams. Teams are also running, like I said, 60% of the time. Oh, so passing yards. So let's get into that. Pass yards per game, 225.7. That ranks number 68. Now, with that being said, they only throw at 39% of the game. So it does make you wonder a little bit, would this be worse because they're running the ball and they don't have to they don't have to throw it? So again, it is, I wouldn't, if I played Colorado, I would not do, I would try to throw the ball 20, 30% of the game and just continue running it down their throat, or RPOs, and I would even say read option and let your wide receivers pretend like they're running routes. That's exactly what I would do. That's how I would attack. That just feels, this team just feels different. The sense of urgency is not there. I don't know what's going on. It almost feels like, even watching Caden Salter on the sideline this weekend was not, and again, I know that he tried to calm down some fans that were screaming for, put Salter in, get Staub out. But at the same time, it's, and he's like, hey, like, you're not helping at this point, and it's, I don't know what the solution is, but it does look like something major does have to happen, whether that's play calling given to somebody else, whatever it may be. But this team is lacking just lacking that intensity, that energy that's needed. Another thing on run plays, the defensive line is getting blown off the ball. They're back 2 yards getting blown off the ball. They're not attacking. They are waiting to be attacked, sitting back. It is tough. There's no containment. Again, your number one job as an edge player, defensive end, outside linebacker, contain. You see them start going inside. So again, I think that's what Preston Hodge was talking about. And I think Northside, you put that in a little bit earlier. There's no, where was it about the gaps? Let me see. There was one you had in here about, yep. The D-line doesn't have any gap integrity. Yep, exactly. And even on these zone plays, the stretch zones, you have your jet sweeps. So part of the problem is they want, when you start running zone, they want your defensive lineman to get sideways and start running. That's when the running back then finds the hole and starts taking it upfield. Colorado's sideways. Their sideways are getting blown back. Teams aren't running a ton of power at them. It's mostly zone. Again, most college teams run some sort of zone blocking scheme most of the time. But there is no gap integrity. They're not blowing anybody off the ball. The only one, again, that I have seen done that, he didn't play this weekend, was Jaheim Otis. He was the only one it looked like getting pushed. The defensive line looked much better with Jaheim Otis. And again, he is one that needs to play more. I'm going to continue pounding the table for him. Jaheim Otis, that dude needs to start. He needs to play as much as he possibly can. This Colorado defense needs that. So there we are. And then let me see. And then, the pick routes and crossing routes. That is all you have to run as well when you throw the ball, right? When you're in so much man, it's simple. It's simple when you know what they're running, right? These pick routes, cross routes, they're not going to work in zone because someone's guarding an actual portion, right, zone of the field versus the actual player. So again, you have to mix it up. There's not a ton of mix up here. It is man-to-man. Again, it's very basic, but you cannot continue doing this. Now, offensively, so Ryan Staub, he did not play well. And again, this is just it's not his fault. Nowhere did any of us think Ryan Staub was going to be getting playing time this season. We thought it was Caden Salter or Julian. And now we have been through 3 QBs. Julian has 2 drives. So again, we don't know, but nothing has worked or changed. So we continue down this path there has to be, so, there is a common denominator here. And I think we kind of know what that is. Offense coordinator play calling, right? Play design is poor. And again, this team is struggling. They're reeling. They cannot get anything going. Something has to drastically change on that side of the ball. The only big plays this team creates are off script, meaning this was not the initial call or where it was initially supposed to go, right? We seen Sincere Brown, right? We Staub changed the play, right? Twice for him to run that go route. Then we seen this past weekend, right, with the Marion Miller. Staub had to run and just flick it up, and at the point, it's like, oh gosh, that's about to get picked. There was so much congestion here, and made a great play with it, off script plays. So part of me is just like, it can't just be every single quarterback. You have a 5-star all-world quarterback. You have a 4-star G5 player of the year. And Ryan Staub, again, is no slouch either, right? You had a kid who turned around a football program in high school and won a playoff game there in Southern California. Again, these are talented young men that are playing. Something has to change. Something is going on. And again, you're running read option with Ryan Staub Friday night. Nobody is expecting Ryan Staub to keep the ball there. So what are we doing? I almost felt like, someone correct me if I'm wrong, that there was more read option plays ran with Ryan Staub this past weekend than there's been for Caden Salter. And again, that just boggles my mind. There was Wyoming's head coach. I'm not sure if you guys seen this today. He had a press conference, spoke with the media up there in Wyoming. Where are they? Not Cheyenne. Where are they? Laramie, Wyoming. So they were asking, about the difference in the quarterbacks, and I think he didn't mean this as a shot. I know he didn't mean this. He wasn't taking a shot, anything, and he just said, well, there's no difference in when quarterbacks are in, they're running the same offense, which is a big red flag, especially, again, when you have Caden Salter, who thrives in a system of backyard football, read option, just Caden be Caden, scheme some things up, design these things. Again, you got Caden here for a reason. It was not to make him a pocket passer or to throw bubble screens and tunnel screens. Let's see. Humble Texan said, I didn't see the fans were calling for a new QB. That sucks. I saw Arch Manning got booed at home. Yes, it's a QB issue, but it's 100% a coaching issue and keep stopping. It is. And again, at the end of the day, Prime always says, I see the same things you guys see. Okay, cool. Do something about it, right? And again, it's no shot in him, nothing like that. But some things have to change with this team moving forward. And again, whether that be, Pat Shurmur or whatever it is, someone designing the offense. Again, we can continue to say who needs to play and what quarterback needs to do what, but there's not been any different results. So again, part of this problem was that anytime you go back to it, I was starting to look up a little bit of, on the forums, reports, those things about Pat Shurmur. This has been a complaint about him since, head coach, and as well as all the stops he's had as an offense coordinator. This is the same complaint everywhere. At some point, those have to hold true, right? They have to make a little sense, right? And I get it, as fans, we don't know everything. So, I'm sure he's working his tail off, doing everything that he feels necessary to put these guys in the best position they need to win moving forward. But, dude, you got to change it up, man. And I know I've been super critical of him. I tried to keep it under wraps a little bit, but now I am a full-blown, there's a problem. And, again, a couple of the issues, right? So let's just Staub was looking for one read and panicking. He would read maybe half the field, if that. He was lucky to get to his second read. He started to panic. And again, I don't know why that was the case. I don't know what was going on, what is said beforehand, but you got to go through progression at any level, right? Unless, right, like Caden Salter can get away with those because Caden Salter can move. Ryan Staub did have a little bit of wiggle to him the other night, but he's not Caden Salter. Maybe that's one of the things you tell Caden Salter. Go through read 1 and 2, and if it's not there, take off, man. Go create. So it felt like Staubby was doing that more. But again, at the end of the day, this offense is not doing anybody any favors. There's too many short routes. So again, just, I went back and just watched probably about 30, 40 plays today. There's a lot of short routes being ran. it is mind-boggling a little bit with all that speed and talent. And then when those deep routes do occur, we have some pressures that the buffs get hit. The quarterback's under pressure or creates their own pressure by freaking out and scrambling. So again, don't know what's being taught to the quarterback. You have to get rid of it in 2.5, 3.5 seconds. Like, I don't know what's being there. I don't know what's being taught there though. So, and again, too many horizontal plays. So, and what i.e. bubble and tunnel screens, remove those from the playbook. Just remove them. And again, it is hard because you guys are running a lot of those, but right now we can't run a really normal plays at this point. So it is absolutely hard. It's a no-win situation for any quarterback that goes into this system. So Northside says, I'm putting my tinfoil hat on. I think Pat's sabotaging the offense because he wanted the Cal QB. Pat was recruiting him hard, went to his house and everything. But Prime took Juju. Pat wanted to stop. Yeah, and if that's the case, I mean, that should tell you all you need to know. If that is the case, so we're talking about Aguilar, right? From that's now at Tennessee, I think, from Cal. I think that's who it is. But yeah, he looks fantastic. But again, at the same time, like, you got to switch up your offense. This is just this has turned into a nightmare season a little bit so far, right? We're far from over. Everything's still in front of the Buffs. But they got to start. They got to start today, Monday. Heck, they should have started Saturday. But again, this coming Saturday is the first chance they get to prove it. This cannot continue, though. I know that much. This play calling, this horrible, everything that's going on, something needs to switch, change. Obviously, it's not working. We have now been at this for 3 weeks, and again, we have more questions than we do answers. Next moves for the offense. So far, the only QB who has not really had a run at it outside of 2 drives is Julian. And I think, it's go time for him. I think that is the quarterback that should be starting. Oh, okay. Yeah, I always get him. I think Aguilar's from UCLA, right? It was like basically like a trade with Nico, which UCLA is a disaster. And also they have players that are decommitting there. So it sounds like Colorado's going to go get in on him. So just side point. Yeah. He is I saw him. Where did I see him at? Because he was on that freshman list of like Julian Sane, Bryce Underwood that were just having a fantastic first week. So, but Julian needs to be the one starting. Back to that, he is. There is a caveat though there, right? There is where I struggle with this is: do we want him playing? Do we want Pat Shermer molding him or trying to? That is a concern of mine. Right? You put him in a bad situation, and does he start learning bad habits or start to get pissed off with the system and saying, like, I'm out? So again, something needs to change. If you are going to continue and changing quarterback after quarterback, it's obviously not the quarterback at this point. So let me see where we yes. So I would say this weekend they give Julian his moment. And again, like I always talk about, is he is going to have moments of brilliance where we're all in awe. Like, man, look at that throw. Like, even, I was in awe with that throw he made off his back foot against Delaware that was completed to Q. That was an unreal throw. Like, I know everybody saw it as like an out, but that was off of your back foot, fading away, just threw it there, hit him on an out. Like, that is an unbelievable throw by Julian Lewis. That is one that I'm like, damn, like, this dude is so talented. I really believe the offense is fit for Staub and not Salter. Yeah, it's Staub or Julian Lewis. But again, like, I almost am starting to wonder now. I guess I'm past the point of wondering. What I'm past the point of wondering about, though, is when we look at what Shedeur Sanders did, how many of these was he changing the plays on, right? Like, you would see him on the sideline there, right? Again, like, the play I always go back to is against Arizona. I think it was Will Shepard was saying he was hurt. Excuse my language, but he goes, bitch, can you run a go route? Like, and it was that simple. Like, go run a go route. And it was just that simple and that straightforward. Like, nope, this is what we're running. So, and then we heard Staub say it like, oh yeah, I learned under Shador. This is what Shador would do, right? And so it's the same thing, right? Like how much of this was those two, like Shador knowing the offense so well. Northside, yeah, the Wyoming coach, though, what he said today, I didn't watch the whole one. I just watched a clip of it, but they asked him essentially how they prepare for Colorado. He said they run the same offense regardless who's at quarterback. So that is in a nutshell what he said. It's not quote for quote, but this is what he said. So basically, when Salter's in there, Staub's in there, it's the same offense, which again, it should not be when you have a Caden Salter. Change the offense, do something different. We understand where Caden Salter is the most effective, right? Hell, go look at Liberty, go watch Liberty's, go get Liberty's playbook and just run that. It's seriously that simple. And I know this game, again, I'm not calling this game simple, anything like that, but to make Caden Salter successful, it is a whole leaning into it. It is everybody has to be bought into it. Everybody has to be ready to roll with it, but that is in my opinion, that's the only way you're going to see Caden Salter be Caden Salter. Is this year 2 or 3? This is year 2 because what was it? It was a Sean Lewis and where was that D coordinator? This is year 2 of Pat Shurmur being the full-time offense coordinator. I believe so. Yeah. So he is. I'm not. I'm not a big fan of Pat Shurmur. Right. They got to do something different. So, Wyoming about to beat us. I'm putting my money on Wyoming. Don't do that. Don't do that. Maybe the spread. I bet the spread. And again, I can't give you betting advice, but if there was anywhere to win, I think Colorado still wins. I got them by 10 points. Again, I haven't looked at the over-unders, anything like that, but I would say 10 points. Colorado, that's what I'm going to pick them to win at. Let me see. The bubble screens. Okay, so if you're going to run them, run 2 or 3 a game. Max if you're going to. They just constantly call every single drive. It is a drive killer, right? You start they run those and you're in the hole to start your drive. So again, you're at 2nd and 13, 2nd and 12. Stop running. Just run them 2 or 3 at the most each game. And if you do start Julian again, this is absolutely what they should do. They should start Julian Lewis, let the young man develop, let the young man go get after it. He is extremely talented, as we all know, and that has to start this weekend. And if you're going to start him, commit to it. Commit to it. Julian Lewis is the future of the program. It is time to start. It is time to start. It's time to start him and start. Let's get this rolling now. Georgia Tech gave everyone a blueprint on how to beat us. Yep, exactly. And that's Gennaro. I'm not sure when you joined us. I was talking about that a little bit at the beginning of the show. Houston ran the same things. Houston ran the same things. Quarterback power. They're going to run the same thing. Wyoming this week, and please watch. They're going to be running the same things as well. Until they can stop it, this is where we're at. And again, the defenses bring pressure. Colorado looks confused everywhere. It is just nothing looks fluid at this point. Nothing looks easy, right? We don't even have a basic play that we can run that we know we're going to get 3 or 4 yards out of. We don't, or simple route to get the quarterback in rhythm. Like this is seriously that there should be drive starters. We run drive killers to start drives. So it is mind-boggling at this point why this doesn't stop. I was there for the 09 matchup. Buff shut them out. This is arguably a more talented team overall. Crazy that we are. This is a much more talented team than 09. Talking like they should win. They're going to win. They're going to win. It's just I don't think it's going to be, again, if nothing changes, it's not going to be like a dominating win. Now, what I do think what they should do, you let Julian Sleen start calling shot plays with them. Most teams now, they run a ton of zone blocking scheme on offense in the run game. And so something I thought about during the offseason was, so over the summer, I guess, was that offensive line is massive, right? We know that. And sometimes we see Colorado's offensive line get pushed back or lost. That's because when you're running zone blocking, you need to have your offensive line should be a little bit smaller, guys that can move more sideways and a little more athletic. Colorado's offensive line is built to run a power/gap scheme, power football. Colorado should be running a power gap scheme. They are humongous. You have a dude like Simeon Price back there and Michael Welch and Michael Welch, that dude is a freaking wrecking ball. Let him run. Like, run a power scheme, whatever it is, right? AB gaps, whatever you want to call it. Your 1, 2, 3, 4 gaps, right? So 1 and 3, 2 and 4. Let him run. Let him run in between those with the lead blocker. Start running more power plays. Again, where they start to get in trouble is they start running zone plays in the offensive line. They're not built to move like that. Zy Chrysler at 6'7", what is he, what did we say was 360, 370? Yeah, that's not going to work in a zone blocking scheme for Zy Chrysler, who was a tackle, moving him to guard. That's not realistic. That's not going to happen. So move more to a power scheme. And again, I'm a huge fan of the power scheme. I have always struggled with the zone blocking scheme. Again, it's probably just because my younger days we played in the power gap scheme. So, but I would keep doing that. I would keep feeding Price. I think he has now earned a starting job at this point. He is, man, he looks good. It is just a matter of time before he has a 100-yard rushing game. I want to say it's this weekend, but again, I don't know. He's probably gonna average 7 or 8 yards a carry and only get about 8 carries. So again, just the way things have been going, this cannot continue. It is a struggle. So, but I think Simeon Price has now earned the starting job. Now, the defense, like we talked about already, stop with so much man-to-man. That is hurting you guys. It has become detrimental. You have Preston Hodge coming out and saying, we can't stop the run because our heads are turned, and he's not wrong there, right? Because they're running a lot of these routes. Even though it's an a read option. They're letting their receivers run routes because they know, like, well, we don't even really have to guard them. Let's just run them off. And again, that's why we've seen Carter Stoutmeyer doing this with that run that Connor Wigman had for 49 yards, because he was looking and reading, came up and took off because he was in man-to-man. And again, I'm sure they have their reads, whatever it is they need to look at, but it's not working. It's time to try something else. So Prime have to change philosophy of this team. He needs to be defense first and run the ball. Yep, I'm with you. Yeah, but they can't play man either. Northside, right? They press it, and secondary can't play zone. They can't play man either. They just don't have the personnel to run that much man-to-man. I don't know what you do. You got to start simplifying, and maybe it is sitting back in a zone and trying to keep everything in front of them. And again, that is the problem, though. You keep everything in front of you, they miss tackles, tons of tackles. So at the end of the day, like, what is the plan here? I would say that you're right. There's no reason I say to stop with so much man-to-man. There's no Travis Hunter. There's no Colton Hood anymore. Colton Hood is balling out for Tennessee. Shout out to Colton Hood. Holy cow. He had an interception that was called back, but my goodness, that was ridiculous. He batted it up in the air to himself. It was, geez, that dude is a baller. Man, every single time I watch him play, yeah, it hurts. It hurts more and more, where I was like, okay, it's not going to be that bad. It's bad. He is, that dude's going to make like a first-team All-American if he continues this. Pass rush is lacking, right? The first game, they were getting after it, but it is gone, right? And again, you play man-to-man without blitzing as much as they are, right? And again, it is hard to blitz when you can't cover man-to-man. BJ Green is gone, right? Like, you have to adjust to your personnel. And that, again, not happening. Linebackers need a rehaul. Salter, I think, should play when healthy. He's not been. And Myers, I mean, I really don't know. Like, I'm struggling with. I see time and time again that French and Reggie getting blocked. They're getting blocked a lot. Yeah, is there another type of defense for those in the back? Are you saying the Buff secondary is just bad? Yeah, I think so. But they have to scheme it up, and I don't want to say they're bad. They have talent, though. That's a shitty part about this situation. Is they have a lot of talent back there. There's four stars pretty much everywhere on that defense. Like, it is in that secondary. It's it's rough. Needs to be aggressive, play zone, press, and blitz. I think just mix it up. You might be able to see some changes there. Like when you know that a team is what they're doing on defense every single play is man to man, that makes it easier. It'd be just like every time they're either going to run the ball through the B gap or they're going to throw it out to the tight end. It would be very predictable for an offense to do. You cannot continue running the same plays. And again, they run tons of man to man. So again, my hope is that they figure it out this week. Things start to gel, things start to click. But so far, we are nowhere near that. Let me see, cornerback. So here's my take on what the cornerbacks should be. I think, right, obviously DJ's out there. One of the outside corners. The other one I think is Makari Vickers. I know he got beat on that. What was it? A double move that he got beat on. But that's one of the problems with running cover one. You are on a complete island. If he had some safety help, that wouldn't have got there, or if it's thrown up, it's picked. So again, stop with the man-to-man, or if you're mix it up. Mix it up is what I would say. Mix it up. Do something different. Try something different. Right? Your exotic blitzes, your cover sixes, where your half the field's cover two, the other half's cover four. Let's try some different things here. But again, it does have to change. And then again, I still have faith in Preston. I think Preston Hodge is a very, very good player, very, very good slot cornerback. He will get it together. In my opinion, again, call me right, like being a homer right now, but I really do think that Preston's going to get it together. But I think those three are the ones who should play the most moving forward. That is just where we're at. And again, those are the three, in my opinion, that have earned it. Your safety. So I like Tawfiq Byard and Ben Fennis. I can never say his name. Fennisith. I don't even know how to say his last name, right? 28. Love watching him play, but I think those are your two safeties moving forward. Tawfiq Byard should play every single snap that he can. That dude is a monster. Prime, shouted him out today at the team meeting. So, again, Tawfiq Byard is one of my favorite players on the defense, one of my favorite transfers that was coming in. But Tawfiq Byard should play every single play. And they do need to have a set rotation everywhere. This subbing in and out, again, I cannot preach this enough. It doesn't let them get the hang of things. The hope is Sam Okunloa and Jaheim hopefully back. If not this week, man, they're needed against BYU, because if they show up like this against BYU, Kalani Sitake and the rest of them, man, they are going to blow Colorado out at Folsom. And that would really suck, because that is an 8:15 kickoff a game. I do not want to be at Folsom Field at midnight getting our asses kicked. I know that much. So, Ben should play every down, get Carter off the field. Yeah. Yes, he does struggle. I mean, I don't even want to say he struggles in coverage. Everyone's struggling in coverage right now. So, yes, I agree with you, Northside. It is – you can nitpick any single player right now, just the way the defense is playing. So, yes, I do agree with you, though. I had big – for Carter Stoutmeyer, I had huge I thought he was going to have a humongous year this year. So it's not been the case so far. But yeah, Jaheim needs to get the majority of snaps right there in the middle of the defense. Pull him off, maybe a couple plays here and there to get his win back. But that dude should not be off the field when he is healthy. He is one that does not practice well, but man, the lights come on. Man, that dude is a monster in the middle, and I'm going to continue beating that drum. But I love what I've seen from Jaheim Otis so far in the snaps that he's been getting. Practice those RPOs and read option plays. Seriously, that's all I would do. 60-70% of the practice, just practice those, because this is and again, maybe they need to go full pads and full tackling, because they are missing tackles after tackle after tackle. So just to give you guys an idea, I saw something. I couldn't find the final stats on Georgia Tech about missed tackles, but it said 3. There's no way in hell that's right. 2 or 3 or something. There's no way in hell. It felt like there was like 2 or 3 missed tackles on Haynes King's final run of the game there, right? Like a couple players met him in the hole. I could think of one with Eric Rivers, and then on the first the first or second play when Jamal Haynes took that one, somebody whiffed. And again, that's still a missed tackle. Who was it? So here's their totals. They have had 13 missed tackles versus Delaware, and they had 11 missed tackles versus Houston. That's 24 tackles in the span of 2 weeks. That is unacceptable. That cannot happen. I like Ben because he can play downhill, come hit. Yep. Yeah, he is aggressive. I like watching him play. And again, me being critical, I think my wife and I were talking about him during the game. It's like, well, he can't cover. Then it's like, well, no one's really covering at this point. So, that's a great point, Northside. We can be critical of anybody. The only downside about tackling, we don't have good depth. Yeah, I'm with you on that. But the tackling is poor. It is poor right now. It is causing most of the fits in the run game. And then, even after the yak, right, yards after catch on catch, they're missing everything. It is hard to just pinpoint one single part of the defense, right? Right. We want to blame the offense. We want to do this and that, but the defense isn't doing its job either. So again, they're not playing complementary football. They're playing absolutely, actually the opposite of complementary football. I don't even know if what is opposite of complementary? Like, what is it called? Like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that one out. But like, what is it called? Someone like says something mean to you instead of a compliment. I don't know. But they're playing the opposite of complementary football right now. So I'm curious to see what is said. So let's see. During the post-game press conference, Prime said we normally get our butts kicked at night. The next 2 games are night games. What's your thoughts on that? I think he's just doing coach's speak. Prime knows exactly what he's saying. What I do think he's doing, though, Prime is he's a fantastic leader, great man, great coach. He has children of his own. I think he's just protecting the kids and deflecting so they don't get all the questions. Or he's taking the blame for it and he's willing to answer the questions for it. I remember Rex Ryan used to do that for the Jets, and people would get so mad. It's like, oh, it's all about him and this and that. No, he's making it easier for the players. I remember watching a couple interviews with Rex Ryan's players, and they were just like, no, I absolutely loved it because I didn't have to talk as much to the media. He would do all of it, and all the attention was, essentially on him, and he would take all the heat, not us. So maybe that, it seems like to me that's what Prime's doing. He's not going to flat out, and again, I don't understand. When I was younger, I used to really pay attention to press conferences and all those things. Like, they're not going to tell you exactly what they saw. They're not going to tell you exactly the game plan. That would just be, lack of a better word, dumb, if that were the case. Well, here's our game plan moving forward, right? Like, that'd be terrible. He knows exactly what he saw. Again, this dude is a Hall of Famer, played at that high of a level. I think he knows exactly what he's doing there, in my opinion. So we'll see what they do. I'm ready for we'll see. I'm not sure when the press conference is. Once a week, Prime speaks to the media. Hope is that it's tomorrow, but we'll see. I know so just to, we had a couple people on here post-game, some new friends that joined us. We were talking about, I don't even know how we got started on this, but I think I was talking about Alex McPherson. I said, man, he's like Latimer from the program, right? Minus the PEDs. So again, please hear me when I say that. Not what I'm saying at all about Alex McPherson. But I was like, man, he reminds me of Latimer. And so my wife and I watched the program. And then somebody brought up, oh, we need the water boy. And I was like, linebacker. And then somebody brought up why we needed a linebacker. And I said, okay. So would you rather have Alvin Mack at linebacker or Bobby Boucher at your linebacker position? And this is one that we had I don't even know what happened, how it got here, but it was way off of where we needed to be going. But yeah, this is the tough one. It's the right part of me wants to say Bobby Boucher. But the other part's like, you got Alvin Mack, who leads the whole defense, makes all the calls. That dude was watching him in the program, right? Like, couldn't read in the movie. And then you have him just, the very next scene was him calling out the entire offensive, he's like, kill everybody, do this, do that. And it was like, dude, this is crazy. So he was, so I'm not sure though. He would get everybody lined up. So let's see, Boucher, Mama said, how crazy would that be though, to be out there and you see somebody freaking out, like pulling their hair out and like having like a mental breakdown and then just come screaming at you? It would be ridiculous. Northside says, Bobby. Okay, man. Yeah. Cause he did take the Mud Dogs to all the way to the, was it the what was the name of the Bourbon Bowl? I think it was the Bourbon Bowl or whatever. Oh man, I love the program. I'm gonna go with Alvin Mack just because he would get everybody lined up correctly. And you could probably actually run plays. I don't even know where my struggle was I don't know what Bobby Boucher looked like in coverage. I don't think. I mean, I know he had that one pick six, maybe it was a couple, but he also lit someone up on a punt return. So that was kind of like a bunch of people up on that punt return. So again, I'm gonna go with Alvin Mack though. He get everybody lined up. He could play coverage. He was a everything linebacker, right? So yeah, I think I'm gonna take Alvin Mack. So 2 for Boucher, 1 for Mack. Stay tuned for the next poll. Yeah, we'll push that out as well. So yeah, I'm a big fan of I'm a big fan of Alvin Mack though. So just again, if you're tuning in and never seen the program, check that movie out. It's such a good movie. So check that one out. But yeah, that is one of my all-time favorites. I think I have 2 favorite. Geez, my favorite all-time football movie. Gosh, that's so hard. I really like the program, but my favorite's Friday Night Lights. That movie's so cool. You know, Boobie Miles, man, that dude is like the coolest football player, movie star ever. And then another one I like is Remember the Titans. So that is, gosh, that stuff. And then Any Given Sunday, I think Willie Beeman's really cool too. So, but anyways, check that movie out if you haven't, the program. And now let's dive into a little bit of the rest of the week looks like. So Wednesday, so we are going to turn the page on Houston. Let's see. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Prime need to take Saban path with his coaching staff. Saban had. Yep. Kirby, Dabo, Dan Lanning. Yep. Yep. He even hired. Remember? Well, Sark didn't come from there, but Sark was. He was offense coordinator for a bit underneath Alabama as well too. So like, and they learned a ton from him. You know, part of me is like, man, they should go get. And again, I don't even know if Saban would do it, but if Saban would take the defensive coordinator position at CU, that would be dream come true. Right? We can dream, but Saban sounded like he's pretty retired. He was talking about it a couple weeks ago. But yeah, this week, turn the page on Houston, move on to Wyoming on Wednesday's show. So we're going to record myself and one of our friends from Wyoming. He runs his own show, podcast up there for Wyoming football. Again, I don't like to say who they are for some other reasons that I explained last week. But Wednesday, we'll have one of those game previews with another individual where him and I go back and forth, start asking each other questions. He takes it to his viewers. I bring it to mine. That will air live on Wednesday night. Wednesday night. And again, our Wednesday night shows, this is the last week. This is the last week of Wednesday of starting later at 7:30 Mountain Time, just because my son has practice at 6, and it's an hour by the time football practice. By the time we get home, it's about 7:30. So this is the last week of that. So make sure you guys are tuned in, ready for the 7:30 show on Wednesday night. That'll dive into all things Wyoming and Colorado. So make sure you dive in. And then new from recruiting, only thing that I know about is Gavin Mueller just basically moving up from that 3-star ranking to a 4-star. Been looking and looking, nothing I've heard, nothing I've come across in certain communities that I'm connected in, nothing that I heard of. And again, we'll see what happens. The UCLA players, the UCLA and Virginia Tech players, since the head coaches were fired, now have a 30-day window to transfer. And again, it's not they get to come play on the team this year. That is not what that means. It is they just essentially get a jump and can enroll in the fall semester and the spring semester and redshirt this year. I would expect Colorado to be active with that, but again, they cannot play this season. It will be next season, but they do get that redshirt year. So pay attention to that. And again, there's a lot of players from Virginia Tech, and one that we need to pay attention to is UCLA, because again, this is on the western part of the country. A lot of the same recruits that UCLA was going after, CU was going after. So eyes on that. Again, follow my Twitter, X, at Manny_303. I retweet all of those. I'll quote repost and push out kind of what I'm hearing as well from, again, I'm not an insider, so please do not think that. But from what I hear and what I'm gathering a little bit on. So just make sure we're following me on there. It's, tons of good things. And again, maybe seen, maybe not seen, but Wednesday show should be really good. And I'm excited for that one. So let's see. Let me see. Oh, we could stack up on freshman and sophomore in position. Yep. And I think they're almost there. I know there was an article today. I don't know who wrote it. It was maybe a post. I don't know who it was, but they were talking about, Colorado, you can tell is something's going on with the portal and this, that. It's like, man, coach, Prime took over a team that went 1-11. At least they're competitive right now. What did you want them to? Because typically, if we are looking at what college football looked like 10, 15 years ago, they would be really terrible last year, his first year, last year, and this year they would be playing okay, maybe. It's typically a fourth year is where that would be right now, and that's typically a coach would be given 5 to 6 years to improve it, unless it was what you have with like Deshaun Foster and Virginia and UCLA and Virginia Tech. But the portal, you kind of have to at this point when you take over. So, but yeah, I don't have them off the top of my head. Check my X though. That sounds horrible. Check my X feed, Twitter. Let me just call it Twitter feed. There's been a little bit of noise going on there. So I reposted a couple things as well. Check those out. I haven't heard anything yet. But that is some, one of the biggest, Nico is probably out at this point at UCLA, right? They're starting quarterback, all-world quarterback from Tennessee that went there. That is one that I can think of right now. I haven't watched a ton of Virginia Tech football. I know that much. Doesn't sound like I'm missing a lot. The only reason I know about UCLA again is it's just the side of the country that we're on. We're on the western part of the country. And just they're always on. Then they played a couple Pac-12 schools, and it was weird to watch them get blown out by New Mexico Saturday night. I think it was Saturday. Yeah, I think it was Saturday night. No, Friday night, actually, right after the Buffs game. But I know that I'm curious to see what Nico's going to do. So, yeah, keep some eyes out there. And, again, follow on my X feed. Those will be updated. I retweet them, repost them, or put what I think. And then also, to Northside, S2S Buffs, S2SBuffs.com. I have a recruiting section in there as well that I update as well. So, agree with all those. We need trenches and safety linebackers. I would say linebackers is position E, but again, Colton Hood Jr. is coming in as well, 4-star. So that's one to pay attention to and what I'm excited for. Prime will get this thing right. Whether he says it or not, he's not going to let anything, as we've seen, he's pretty quick to make some moves. So we'll see what he does. But Northside, S2SBuffs.com. Anybody else, S2FBuffs.com. There's a recruiting section. And again, it is my website, so check it out. And I try to update that daily. Haven't had some time for the last couple of days, but I do have a whole recruiting section in there as well. Or check out my X or Twitter. So, but until next time, as always, appreciate every single one of you. Without you, there's no show. Again, make sure to follow me on X at 303_Manny, on IG at Manny_303. Buff line is always open, 970-614-5771. I remembered it for this. I actually remembered the number this time, guys. So pretty proud of myself there. But again, just make sure you guys reach out with any questions, comments. But like we always say at the end of each show, like Travis Hunt, like Heisman Trophy winning Travis Hunter, Go Buffs, baby.